Welcome back to Washington Football Maniacs. It is your co-host Brandon Scott and Greg Sykes. We are excited to tell you guys that the Washington Commanders are 2-0. First time 2-0 since 2011. And we were literally just talking about it. Can you guess who the quarterback was that year? We went 2-0. Definitely let us know in the comments section who that QB was. So, again, the Washington Commanders are 2-0 with a 35-33 victory over the Denver Broncos. Man, what a wild game. It started out tough. We came back, and then the Hail Mary at the end almost gave half the fan base a heart attack in one swoop. So we're going to look at our three main takeaways real quick, go over some stats, and then I'm going to ask Greg a general question tonight about the direction of the team. So takeaway number one from me, Eric Bieniemy. He showed his genius with this game. If you look at the amount of points he's accumulated the first two games of this season, being the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders, and then if you look at Kansas City, they ain't looking too good right now, man. I'm just saying, his impact in Kansas City may have been bigger than people portrayed it to be. So Eric Bieniemy, hat goes off to him. He definitely gets a game ball from us. He showed his genius at offensive coordinator. I mean, and that kind of flows into the second takeaway. This offense is nasty, man. I mean, looking at some stats real quick from the offense, Sam Howell, 27 for 39 for 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Brian Robinson was a man on a mission, 18 carries for 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got a couple great catches on the screen passes, and just like same thing with Antonio Gibson. Looking at receiving, his receiving leader was Terry McLaurin with 5 catches for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. But look at that stat. The fact that your highest receiver has 54 yards tells you how many weapons we have, man. I mean, the running game with Brian Robinson Jr., he is a bruiser coming out of Alabama, man. If you look at Antonio Gibson and Curtis Samuel, Swiss Army knives, they are just, man, they can do it all. Catch, run, screen passes. And if looking at Scary Terry and Sam Howell, and I know we're going to talk about, I know you're just itching to talk about it, man. That catch that Scary Terry had, that is an impressive throw and catch from those two, man. I mean, this is just impressive. So, because I'm going to get through them, man, because I know you want to talk about it. The third takeaway real quick, the defense, man, that D-line. That D-line was nasty, man. I mean, Chase Young, this D-line didn't miss a beat. This defense is, I know they struggled. Marvin Mims Jr. kind of did his thing in the first quarter. And we actually talked about it. And I believe it was the episode with you and Ed, which talked about, I told you guys, look, keep an eye out on Marvin Mims Jr. because, man, coming out of Oklahoma, he's a guy who definitely is going to command attention. And he kind of did his thing with Emmanuel Force, but the defense bounced back. So I know we're going to ask a question about the direction of the team, but I really want to know real quick, man, how about that throw? And there's just two main throws that I want to throw out there about Sam Howell. That connection for a touchdown to Scary Terry was just immaculate, man. I mean, and it didn't seem like it had much air. It was a line drive, and it was just, I believe it was triple coverage. I mean, it was a beautiful, and then that throw on the right side of the line, or the sideline to John Bates that Sam Howell threw. They could put us in good position. Those two throws, so kind of make two questions out of this because I know we're both excited. How good can Sam Howell be? And have we finally found our franchise quarterback? What do you think, Greg?
Well, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Sorry, folks. It is that time of the season for me. So I'm going to see if I can get through this. So, excuse me. Okay, so is the voice back? Okay, I think the voice is back.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, folks, it's tough doing a podcast. All right. So let's take this bit by bit. First of all, these passes. I mean, that pass to Terry McLaurin in the end zone in triple coverage. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that was one thing that Terry McLaurin had went to Sam Howell and said, "Look, just you got to trust me. Give me those 50-50 balls. I'm going to come down with it. And if I don't come down with it, nobody else is going to come down with it." And he did. And that was one of the most beautiful passes I think I've seen in quite a long time. especially with, from a quarterback wearing burgundy and gold. That was a beautiful pass. And then that rope to John Bates. We were talking about John Bates kind of being he's not really going to be the pass receiving tight end. I kind of compared him to the Donnie Warren of the 1980s. He's going to get some passes, but he's not going to be the guy that you're going to be throwing the ball to a lot. Usually that was Clint Didier, but John Bates, he really had a really good game yesterday. Sam Howell really liked targeting Bates, but Sam Howell was resilient. That is one word. If you talk about any takeaways, the one word that you have to use is resilient, not just for Sam Howell, but for the entire team, because they were down by 18 points. And it was just the nature of how they got down by that much. I mean, Denver jumped on top of them, to the point where it was like, this is going to be ugly. It could have had not been any more one sided than anything else, right? And it's funny because when I saw this, I was like, what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, what was this, Super Bowl 22? Denver Broncos, Washington Redskins. John Elway, first play of the game, bombed downfield, and then was it Ricky Natil? And the Broncos just had everything in hand, and for like much of that first quarter, Washington just looked horrible, and it had that same feel to it. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game, and I'm thinking, this is going to be. I just can't believe that this whole game's going to be this way. Like, is this going to turn out to be that Monday night massacre that the Eagles put on us? It's like I just can't think of this game like that. Too much talent on this team. And then suddenly the turning point with that fumble by Russell Wilson, the strip from Jamie Davis and the recovery, and then that turned the tide from there. And then it was a totally different ball game. But all facets of the game, but especially, we're talking about Sam Howell. Yeah, Sam Howell we have found our franchise quarterback. Is he perfect? No. There are some things he needs to work on. He's still holding on to the ball too long. He's got to have a little bit. I talk about his pocket presence. I still think that he's able to move around the pocket really well, and he knows when to take off and run. But I've also noticed that even when he scrambles and he's still looking to pass, he's got to be able to sense that there is somebody behind him. He's got to know. He's just got to know he's either got to unload the ball or he's got to run. And he takes some unnecessary sacks too much. And things like that will come in time. But overall, man, we have found our franchise quarterback. His passes are lasers, and his decision making, I think, for the most part, is right on. If he does make mistakes, he comes back, he corrects them. He doesn't ever look shaken or anything like that. He really, through that whole thing, this one thing that we heard from the coach and from other teammates is Sam Howell never looked like he was bothered. He was just like, okay, we'll go back in and we'll do better next. And he stayed the same. He was like a Bill Belichick, never showed any emotion either way, and he just willed this team on the offense. But you want to talk about Sam Howell, but we also certainly he is surrounded by weapons, and you alluded to if you're leading receiver had 55 yards. That shows you how many other weapons this team has.
Absolutely. We both sides of the ball just look nasty right now. And I mean, I love what I see. So looking at these two performances, 2-0, first time since 2011, and you look at the schedule right now. Going forward, next game at home, obviously the Bills. That's going to be a test for this team, and then you go to Philly. So those are going to be two big tests for us. And then we turn around and we have a Thursday nighter against the Bears. But looking forward, real quick, you got the Falcons, who's kind of a rebuilding team. The Giants have not been too hot. The Eagles again at home, but then you get the Patriots, Seahawks, Giants, then the Cowboys and Dolphins, Rams, Jets, 49ers, and then Dallas again. So I think that this is definitely a schedule that is favorable. You're going to have tests. San Francisco is definitely a test. The Cowboys is obviously is always a box office game. So we're definitely going to have to win our divisional games, especially against Philly and Dallas. But again, the Giants have had their struggles. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers is gone for the year. So how does Zach Wilson perform? The Rams. So the list goes on. So looking at this performance and looking kind of ahead at the schedule, do you see this as a playoff team, a division winner, or is it kind of wait and see?
Well, I still think they have to be a playoff team. I don't think that you can say, well, they've got a young quarterback, and you can't expect him to bring this team to a playoff. Yes, you can, and I think they have to, because regardless of what the ownership may say in public, and I think Josh Harris certainly. I don't think. Well, I think he likes Ron Rivera, but at the same time, he's going to do what's best for this team, um, and I think he will evaluate. And Ron Rivera knows that, and so Ron Rivera knows he's got to make it work. This team has to make the playoffs this year, so I don't think it's a question of if; it's a question how are they going to get into the playoffs, and I think how you do that is you try to get off to a hot start in this season. To If you're getting off to a hot start, you're getting momentum, you're building momentum, you're getting more confidence in your young quarterback, and you're building strength. And so suddenly, some of these teams like the Eagles, like the 49ers, they don't they're going to be tough, but you feel like you can compete.
Yeah.
We feel like we can compete. This defense can compete with anybody in the league. I don't care who you throw at them. They
Oh
will
yeah.
compete against anybody in this league. And at this offense right now I think they can go toe to toe with anybody in the league. You alluded to Eric Bieniemy, and you're looking, you compared to the points that the Commanders have put up so far in the first two games compared to Kansas City or what they have put up,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's any coincidence that Eric Bieniemy has something to do with Kansas City's fruitful nature in the past year or so. I mean, they have not looked like the offense that you have normally seen Kansas City, and Commanders are starting to make it look a little bit easier. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
they really are. They're starting to make it look easy on offense. So this team can compete with any team, and I'll tell you what, I'll even go as far to say this. Yeah, you can look at the Broncos and say, well, the Broncos are not one of the better teams. I think toward the end of the season, the Broncos are going to be right in the mix of things. Forget this 0-2 start. I think they're going to be right in the mix of things. I think they got the right coach. I think that Russell Wilson is still a viable quarterback. They're okay. They got a great defense. Um, but my point is that I think that this team can play against anybody in this league right now. I don't see any. They have weaknesses. We all know offensive line weaknesses and things like that, but they have a lot of strengths on both sides of the football and special teams as well. So this team has enough that it can compete against anybody. So playoff team definitely. Now, can they win the division? You're going to be battling, it looks like you're going to be battling Dallas and Philadelphia. I think it's going to be kind of a three-man thing, probably. We say that, and usually, it's always different toward the end of the season. Right now, we're trying to, eliminate the Giants from the playoffs already. But hey, I mean, they looked terrible, and then guess what? They came back and beat the Cardinals yesterday. But of course, the Cardinals, not planning on them being that great of a team, and we kind of struggled against them. So, all that to say, I don't know about winning the division. I think that they'll be in the mix until the very end. But they will be a playoff team, and they have to be. And I think it's good for the league for the Commanders to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. This is definitely a very scary team in the NFC this year, in my opinion. But I do want to say this: these next three games are the most pivotal games in the season because, like I said, you got Buffalo, so you got to see where you at against a legit contender. I know that Allen kind of had a bad week one, but he bounced back, and they're very dangerous. Philadelphia, obviously, all roads. You already mentioned it. All roads in the NFC East go through Philadelphia, so you got them on the road. So that's going to be a definite test. Which if you look at last year, it's not too much of a test. It's attainable, but it is definitely a test. And then, how does Sam Howell respond on his first primetime game? Well, I don't know. Last year, Dallas, was that a Sunday night game? So, because I know Sunday night games is technically prime time. It's
I
Thursday
think it,
night.
I think it was a. I have to go back and see, but
Yeah,
I
because I
think
know
it
it's Thursday
was.
night, Sunday night, and then obviously Monday night.
Yeah.
So, but again, Thursday night, first Thursday night game. So we'll see. So before we roll, do you have anything else you want to cover real quick, Greg?
Um, just one quick tweak that I made to the channel. I did open up channel memberships. Just for anybody. I'm not forcing it on anybody or anything like that, but if any of you guys or gals are interested in supporting the channel in any other way, you can become members, become maniacs of this channel. It's $2.99 a month, so hopefully it's affordable for you. And you'll probably see most of the benefits when we try to do live streams, and I know that Brandon and I have talked about wanting to do more live streams, and we'll try to start doing a few more of those for you. But if you're wanting to support this channel, and in the past I've tried Patreon, and to be honest with you, I just cannot keep up with Patreon. I am just so busy outside of this. I just don't have time to deal with another website. So I figured this might be a way that if some of you really want to support the Washington Football Maniacs, that might be a good way. So check it out. Let us know if you're interested. If not, that's fine. But other than that, that is all I have, Brandon.
Cool, man. So it's definitely Victory Monday. So definitely celebrate 2-0. So definitely appreciate everybody rocking with us tonight, talking about Washington Commanders football. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. You're going to want to do that. So when these dope videos come out, you could definitely be the first to watch. Wherever you get your podcast, 5-star review is much appreciated. So again, appreciate everybody. Big win, but the test is really getting started next week. Sunday, Buffalo Bills. Obviously, we're going to do a preview, but it's going to get harder. Like I said, the next three are going to be scary, but I think the heart in this team, we're going to be all right. So again, hail to the Commanders and peace. Everybody have a good night. See you guys next time.